Hi there, I'm Jazzy. I lead the DeFi products group at Ripple. Today we're going to talk a little bit about interoperability. So just a couple years ago, interoperability was a very niche, high-risk area within blockchain and has evolved to become one of the most frequently talked about discussion areas at conferences like this, an essential component of the blockchain experience, just like highways are in the real world today. So I have with me three thought leaders within this space. We have Marco, as well as Jason and Reza. Why don't we kick off with some introductions and maybe tell us a little bit about your projects?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Marco, co-founder and CTO of Futureverse. My background comes mostly from information security. I've been working for a very long time investigating and collaborating with national agencies, international agencies, security agencies around the world in this space, mostly around identity theft, money laundering, and cyber criminality. So I come into the blockchain from the perspective of what is actually wrong with the blockchain and why the blockchain is being exploited so much in the past. I've been enjoying the blockchain, and eventually I became an advocate for the blockchain. It is really a technology that can resolve a lot of different problems for the society. But at the same time, what my experience really taught me is about to remain humble from one perspective. Everything that we do as technology or as technical persons or people, we create something that everyone should be able to use and enjoy. But there is always someone that can find a way of misinterpreting the original message or profiting for doing something wrong with it. And the other side is I learned to remain always very curious and very attentive to what is happening around me. So to have kind of a broader view of what is happening around what my specific project or my specific company is doing, and be open to collaborate, to cooperate with everyone around in the same space.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason. I'm the head of DeFi at Axelar. Axelar is a decentralized, full-stack interoperability platform. Axelar today connects over 60 blockchains, both EVM and non-EVMs. My background has primarily been in strategy and operations. Prior to joining Axelar as the head of DeFi, I was actually a Rippler myself. So super excited to be back here at Apex and seeing all of the energy around here. For me, interoperability is all about making user experience better in crypto, removing the complexities, removing liquidity fragmentation, and really creating a true chain agnostic experience so we can onboard the next billion users.
Hello everyone, my name is Reza Bashaj. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Sologenic and Corium. My background is in engineering with focus on blockchain and AI. Sologenic is one of the first and the largest ecosystems built on top of the XRP Ledger, providing decentralized applications that leverage the use of native functionalities on the Ledger. Excited to be here.
Thanks all, great to have you here. So let's dive in one little level deeper. Could you tell us a little bit more about what specifically interoperability really means to you? What does it unlock? And why should, more importantly, all of the developers here, the blockchain users here, start to think about interoperability now in their use cases on chain?
Well, to me, interoperability is a trustless and decentralized way for value, assets, and data to move across different chains. It is crucial, essentially, for two groups of users. End users, where they get better liquidity, more seamless experience using blockchain. And for the second group of users, which are the developers and the builders on the ecosystem, they can scale really fast with interoperability, and brings more innovation because interoperability allows developers to use different functionalities of different chains. As you know, there are 20,000 blockchains around, and each excels in doing one thing really good. by leveraging interoperability, developers can actually utilize different things from different chains. And that's very important for user adoption because essentially that brings that seamless experience I mentioned.
Yeah, I agree with Reza. We are clearly now in a cross-chain world. We're at the point where there's a new blockchain every single day, and this trend is only accelerating. With new technologies like roll-up as a service, with what Celestia has built, you can deploy a new chain as fast as you deploy a smart contract. So in the future, we will have millions of chains. And of course, without interoperability, we're only fragmenting the liquidity, the user experience, and crypto becomes really unusable, right? So really, in order to achieve the vision that crypto has always held, to really disrupt financial services and many industries across the world, and to scale crypto, we need interoperability. So we're really excited to see this great panel of experts building towards that future.
Absolutely. If I may just add on top of that, as I said, my background is really about humanity and the humans and how the humans interact between each other. So Futureverse has its own core, the attention to the end users. And because of that, we consider really to pay as much attention as possible to the user experience, but also to the adoption and how we can really achieve the max adoption of the technology like blockchain, but then also AI and so on. And to the point that interoperability being kind of a technical term, I kind of like cooperation, which is a more generic term, but it's really what we have to do right now. We need to cooperate and work together to make it a reality. On the other side, it was very nice. A couple of days ago at the Expand event, Ferran from Persist actually did a very good presentation and just told us and remembered us that all of these topics are probably quite new for the XRPL kind of ecosystem, but has been around for a very long time. So it's almost kind of, we are doing a sort of catch up at the moment on these topics. And I think it's important to remember this for 2 points. One is really something that is needed. We need to expand the horizon of what we can do with XRP and XRPL in general. And the second is that we are not really reinventing anything. We need to perfect, we need to increase and improve the technology that we already have. We are not really reinventing the wheel of the interoperability. We are making that possible in a way. And so, yeah, interoperability means for the end users that they should be able to use and enjoy and play with whatever they have, wherever they go. So it's kind of an answer to the question, do you really own anything if you can't bring that with you? That's for us kind of the question that we want to answer with the interoperability and all the technology that we are developing for answering this question.
Yeah, really great points. So Reza, back over to you. Sologenic at this point is a household name within the XRPL community. You've been building on the chain since 2019. Like any community, XRPL has its own flavor, preferences, use cases that users are interested in. Tell us a little bit about how you think the XRPL community should think about cross-chain and interoperability specifically.
At Sologenic, one of the key pillars of our strategy is going multi-chain. And we have developed an entire layer 1 blockchain called Corium to extend the XRP Ledger's functionality beyond what's available today. We built a bridge so that assets can seamlessly transfer between one chain, the XRP Ledger, to Corium and back. And not only XRP, but every issued currency on the ledger can be transferred to the Corium blockchain, which essentially is an IBC-enabled chain that unlocks access to hundreds of chains that use this standard. On the other hand, assets from IBC-based chains, such as Corium, USDC, and any other asset that exists there, can flow on the XRP Ledger in a seamless and trusted way. And I think interoperability for XRP Ledger is important, and it makes users unlock different value with what they're doing. if you have assets on the XRP Ledger, while the XRP Ledger provides a lot of functionalities, from the code base it has today, and is working on a lot of new amendments, you can extend that functionality with smart contracts. And we actually developed a thing called smart tokens. And smart tokens are tokens that sort of follow the XRPL's vision in a way that they are deterministic in gas and as a really fast finality. And I think that's pretty much what we've done with extending the functionality.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's great. Marco, similarly, the root network is very closely integrated with the XRP Ledger. Could you tell us a little bit more about why interoperability and cross-chain interactions are important to Futureverse and its users?
So yes, the root network was designed from the beginning to be very close to the XRPL and all of the community that is already into the liquidity. It's a big problem, the liquidity, we know about that. So the XRPL and XRP token are still need to find the right way of exploding and being adopted and just being able to leave the wallets where they've been sitting for too long, in a way. So the very first question for us was, there is a lot of potential. How can we work on that? How can we build on that? And how can we reach out to the end users, as I was saying? So the design of the root network is really around, as a side chain of XRPL, is to adopt XRP as the default gas token, but also to allow everyone to bring their own token. All the different projects can really bring their own token, and eventually in their own application, allow to pay in their own token. And then behind the scenes, we translate that into XRP token. So at the end, this really creates a lot of value, intrinsic value to the XRP as a token, but also a lot of value for their own communities that are not maybe exposed, but they will discover XRP and XRPL because of that. So that is the very first design of the root network and how we are promoting it. And as I said, the root network is a new network, and we have, luckily, all of the freedom to design our own standards and protocols depending on what the users are telling us that they need. And when I say users, we have always this dichotomy in a way of two different audiences. One is, of course, the developers. Any blockchain, any system, any software, if any platform, if there are no developers adopting it or starting building for it, there is no adoption of that platform. But then the developers also need the audience and users that will start using and enjoying the products and the projects and the applications and the games that these developers will do. So as a Futureverse, we are trying to keep moving forward with both of these two audiences. It's really, really important. Providing the end users the examples, what you could do using something built on the Futureverse platform and the root network, and what the developers can do to provide these functionalities to their end users. And because of that, the interoperability really is at the center of everything that we do. We really need to be able to talk, communicate, and work correctly with all the different partners, all the different other projects. And then we really believe that it will grow and will create value for everyone actually participating to this ecosystem. So it's not just for us, but it's we believe in the good for all.
Definitely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's great. Jason, over to you next. So Axelar is very well known in cross-chain innovation and communication. They've become a leader in a historically high-risk space. Could you tell us a little bit about some of Axelar's key initiatives, as well as what excites you about the upcoming XRP Ledger integration?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Axelar is known for cross-chain communication, but it's something that a lot of people don't still fully understand. Like, how we break it down is, when it comes to cross-chain interoperability, you have asset transfers, aka known as bridging, as well as something known as message passing. And message passing is this abstract concept that many people don't fully grasp, right? But it really is ability to pass any payload between two different types of blockchains. It could be a command, it could be like an instruction. The end result is with cross-chain messaging, you're able to build all kinds of chain-agnostic applications where you're able to combine like very complex functions to be executed in a single step, creating these one-click experiences. And the end result is it helps create a world of like chain abstraction, where the end user is able to do whatever they want without knowing what chain they're using and what chain is even underneath it. So with Axelar, this is something that we've been working on for the last 3 years. Axelar today, as I mentioned, connects to 60+ blockchains, all the major EVM chains, L2s, as well as the Cosmos IBC chains. And what we're doing with Ripple is something that's incredibly exciting. We're going to be connecting both XRPL as well as the new EVM sidechain so that they have full interoperability to all of the existing chains on the Axelar network. So now imagine a world where you can bridge any asset from these EVM and Cosmos chain to XRPL and the other way back. The XRP can now be available on any of these chains, as well as the tokenized assets, RWAs, that the Ripple team has been busy building. But this is just the beginning. When we have message passing unlocked, we'll also see an influx of applications from these EVM chains, Cosmos chains, to expand onto XRPL as well as the new EVM sidechain. I think in the long run, what we'll see is Ripple's XRPL as well as the sidechain will become the hub for institutions and for institutional grade DeFi, really unlocking a whole new world of possibilities and growth for the Ripple and XRPL community.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to it. Reza, over to you. Sologenic and Corium are also tackling this space head on. Could you tell us a little bit more about how your project leverages the XRPL's capabilities in order to build your solution?
So Sologenic's, one of Sologenic's core objectives has always been to tokenize securities like stocks and ETFs. And so the XRP Ledger provides most of the tools we need to do that. You have the trust lines, which allows you to whitelist or blacklist any address, which is required by regulatory frameworks. And then you have the XRPL DEX, which allows you to provide liquidity on demand for any asset to any asset. So despite having the AMMs, which are great for popular assets like Bitcoin, USDC, XRP, USDC, and so on, the order book DEX of the XRP Ledger allows you to swap any asset against any asset before providing the liquidity. So you don't need to have the liquidity to be able to swap or to be able to participate in that market. That's great, but then we took it as a bit further by introducing Corium, obviously, to extend DeFi functionalities for these RWAs and tokenized assets. As assets move across chain in a trustless way, they can be used in other DeFi applications like lending, borrowing, or any other AMM pools that are available on the whole IBC-based chains. And I think that is actually really good because it allows institutions to tokenize assets, real-world assets, securities or anything, real estate, in one chain and be able to use it on the other chain. And the XRP Ledger, as Jason mentioned, is in a really good position for institutions to just do that. So we're providing the required tools around the whole ecosystem. And that's what essentially being multi-chain means here in this space.
Yeah.
If I may, I really like the positioning of that, and then what really means, basically what you are describing, it's really putting XRPL at the center of a potential network of networks. I really like this idea because that is also representing kind of growing an ecosystem, but also growing a network of the roots of a tree, of a forest of trees that really permeate the soil around them. And because of that, the reach that we can have into the society and into the population it's enormous. So we can really gain adoption, increase the audience because of what you are doing as well. I mean, I am a big fan of both Sologenic and Axelar in particular, but I really believe that those are the concepts that we really need to push forward to make this a reality.
Yeah, user adoption is the key at the end of the day.
Is the key, absolutely.
Listening to Wietz's panel today, and he was mentioning that this is the walking stage where, if there isn't adoption, there isn't a future for for the whole blockchain space in general. You need to create applications that are usable for institutions, for end users, for anybody who's involved in the system, without even them knowing what's going on behind the scenes, and they can trust that everything is decentralized and is trustless.
Exactly. At the end, it's really a win for all, a benefit for all. Really creating this very Sorry.
No, that's great. 100%. Usability is the North Star for all of us. So these are great points. Let's talk a little bit about challenges. Jason and Reza, we can all acknowledge that bridging is a very hard technical problem. What challenges have you faced in the development of your products? And how do you, have you faced any trade-offs along the way? Maybe we'll start with Jason and then back over to Reza.
Yeah, for sure. I think for us at Axelar, the biggest challenge is still just educating both users and developers on, what interoperability really means and what the trade-offs are with different designs of different interoperability solutions. The reality is most people still just wants to bridge an asset from one chain to another, and they'd want to do it the fastest way and cheapest way possible. And they don't really care about how it works or what's happening under the hood. And I totally understand that. But also in reality is the fastest and cheapest ways is often using the most centralized way, using off-chain components, and oftentimes governed by a multi-sig, right? And we've seen this happen. Back then, if you guys remember, the most popular asset transferring bridge was multi-chain. And everyone used them because they were the cheapest and the fastest. And it was well known in the interoperability space for a long time that multi-chain was governed by multi-sig. It had a single point of failure. And despite, telling many developers, many teams the dangers of that, people just don't care until the implosion happens, right? Where we saw users lose hundreds of millions of dollars, and the industry really took that as a learning lesson. But fast forward a few months later, we're starting to see new multi-chains pop up. And I think the biggest challenge is just educating and advancing as an industry, getting that level of education up so that people really understand what these trade-offs are, what are the risks of using decentralized interoperability infrastructure, so we don't have any of these blow-ups in the future.
Yeah, I mean, this is the multi-chain fiasco was actually really a wake-up call for bridge and users in general to be able to verify and trust a bridge to use. And I think generally the challenges are, there are two categories of challenges here. One is for developers, because essentially that the bridge is a language that's specifically designed for two chains to talk to one another and be able to transfer assets and value and things. And being able to translate that really well between the two chains is a bit challenging. Because there isn't any standards there. You have the IBC, which is a standard for cross-chain, but then you don't have it on a lot of other chains like Bitcoin and XRP Ledger. But now, in order to bring those into those standards, you need to have a customized way of making that bridge. So that's one challenge. And I think the second challenge is the security, because at the end of the day, users, end users, retail, enterprises, anybody who wants to use multi-chain functionality need to trust the system. You've seen, even in decentralized bridges, there are vulnerabilities, attacks, and hacks, so nothing is 100% safe and secure. So the challenge is for builders like us to get the code base audited multiple times to make sure that there aren't any vulnerabilities in the code, and for those who are using it to trust those audits. And we've seen in the past that audits cannot be just the only solution for security, but I think this is the best that everybody can do at this point in time, by making code open source, by allowing anybody to inspect it, to make sure that this bridge is indeed fully decentralized and non-custodial.
Yeah, great points. It'll be interesting to see how standardization evolves. Maybe we can talk about it at the next Apex. So Marco, back over to you. I'd love to dig a little deeper. I know we talked about usability before, but what specific strategic steps is Futureverse really taking to ensure an interconnected, interoperable experience for its users?
bloody good question. I think there is a lot really that we still have to unpack and we're working on, and that's where really the cooperation with other parties will also come very, very in handy. As said, the question about do you really own anything if you're not able to take wherever you go is the question. And that really means, of course, moving assets around cross-chain. It's a very complex technology and topic. Better to find someone that is really specializing on this type of topics and create a proper business around it. So, you know, it's very good as developers themselves to understand your limits and find someone that actually is able to tackle these specific problems probably better than you. That's what I was saying, being humble. I was saying at the beginning, it's really recognize what are your own limits and what you could do. But at the same time, stay very close to your original vision. Our vision is really to reach as many people as possible to really achieve the mass adoption, in a way, of the blockchain technology. David Schwartz yesterday in his keynote was saying that there is this merging of the digital culture and the popular culture. It's basically one. We say that it's the digital world and the digital society and the in real life society are basically becoming one. It's the same concept. And he was also mentioning about we need to make the technology disappear for the end user. It's not that we are inventing a new magic. It would be easy if we could really inventing a new magic, but we need to build a technology that makes possible to make the technology invisible. I really believe that the end users, and to be able to onboard end users, is possible only if we make the technology as easy as it was not even there. So the blockchain is a complex topic, but the main big challenge for us, for everyone, is really how to make that so easy for the end users that it's not just cheap, it's not just fast, it's invisible. It's not even there for the end user. So on the other side, really, I think that our main focus, as I said, is bringing people to the ecosystem. So we are targeting different cooperations. I really like this word, cooperations with the big brands, and try to bridge the gap between the Web 2 and the Web 3. Web 3 and the Web 3.0, they are probably two different things exactly, but really, how can we reach those people and make them enjoying and understanding and have fun? At the end, engagement comes with fun. Really, so that we can bring the people to the ecosystem. And then, as I said, with these people, everyone will really win.
Definitely. Yeah, really great points, Marco. Jason, let's chat a little bit about definitely an area of expertise for you, DeFi. How do you expect interoperability to play into the DeFi space? What improvements do you expect?
Yeah, I think when it comes to DeFi, interoperability is becoming more and more crucial. As we talked about earlier, as there's more and more chains, what we're seeing is that there's more and more DeFi applications scattered across all of these different blockchain ecosystems. And as a result of that is liquidity is also then scattered across all of these places. And a key value proposition of DeFi is that it needs to be as competitive as centralized exchanges, centralized venues. And for that to happen, you really need to be able to consolidate the liquidity to facilitate like competitive swaps and so on. And Axelar is doing exactly that, right? We talked about earlier how with Axelar, you can now bridge all kinds of assets to the XRPL, which will now enable the AMM that's being built on XRPL to be able to offer all kinds of assets that users want, giving the kind of coverage that a centralized exchange would have. The second piece is consolidating that liquidity all in a single place so that it really offers an experience that's just as competitive as these like centralized venues. I think also, just allowing users to be able to, come from all the chains, this just gives them more motivation for developers to be able to build more easily and build out those critical DeFi building blocks.
Yeah, definitely. Great points. And are there any particular applications within the Axelar space that you're excited about within DeFi?
Yeah, I think, Squid Router is an application that I'm really excited about. So if anyone hasn't checked them out yet, I would highly recommend you give them a try. So Squid is built a cross-chain swap application on top of Axelar. It allows users to swap any asset from any of the 60+ chain that Axelar supports into any other native asset in 20 seconds or less. And the most exciting part about this is rather than having its own pools and liquidity, what Squid is actually doing is it's composing with DEXs and AMMs on these different chains to facilitate these swaps. So it's incredibly capital efficient, and it's just so easy. And it offers a kind of a glimpse into that chain agnostic experience that I mentioned to users, because you have no idea what chain Squid is built on. You simply select, source chain, source asset, destination chain, destination asset, and in a click of a button, you get what you want. So I really think this is kind of a preview into what the future of crypto and blockchain will look like. And I'm sure in the near future, many of you will be using Squid to be able to swap assets onto XRPL and onboard to the new chains.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much. This was a really great discussion. Marco, Jason, Reza, really appreciate all of your insights. Excited to watch your projects as well as interoperability across blockchain evolve over the years. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.